This is the story of four brave pups. They are the best detectives on four legs. There's Bruno, the strong leader. He's great at finding lost things. Luna, with her super hearing, never misses a whisper. Max, the fastest of the bunch, is always on the chase. And then there's Bella, the smallest but smartest, known for her clever deductions. These pups weren't always detectives. They lived at the Happy Paws shelter. One day, a kind old detective adopted them. He saw their potential and trained them to be detectives. Together, they solved many small cases in their town, but they were about to face their biggest challenge yet. One gloomy morning, a worried woman rushed to the detective's door. Her name was Mrs. Willow and she needed their help. "My husband, Mr. Willow, is missing," she cried. "He didn't come home last night." Mrs. Willow was very scared. The pups could smell her fear. Bruno, the leader, stepped forward. "Don't worry, Mrs. Willow, we'll find your husband." The pups were ready for action. This was their first missing person case, and they were determined to solve it. The pups went to the Willow house with Mrs. Willow. Max sniffed around Mr. Willow's favorite chair. He picked up a scent and barked excitedly. It was Mr. Willow's scent, but it was faint. Luna, with her sharp hearing, listened intently to the house. She heard a faint scratching sound coming from behind a bookshelf. The bookshelf moved slightly, revealing a small, dark room. Inside, Bella found a torn piece of fabric. It was from Mr. Willow's favorite shirt. The pups exchanged worried glances. This was serious. Why would a piece of Mr. Willow's shirt be hidden? Where did the scratching sound come from? The pups followed the scent with Bruno in the lead. They went past the park, through the busy market, and finally reached the edge of town. The trail led to an old, abandoned factory. It looked spooky, but the brave pups were not afraid. They were determined to find Mr. Willow. Inside the factory it was dark and dusty. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. The air was thick with the smell of something rotting. The pups carefully navigated through old machines and piles of junk. Where could Mr. Willow be? They circled back to Mr. Willow's house. "We need to look for more clues," barked Bruno, deep in thought. Luna perked up. "Remember Mrs. Willow mentioned his love for gardening?" Max wagged his tail, understanding. "The garden! Let's go!" he barked. In the garden, Bella noticed something strange. The soil beneath Mr. Willow's favorite rosebush was disturbed. "Dig, Max, dig!" she barked excitedly. Max obeyed, his paws working furiously. He unearthed a small wooden box. Section 6. The plot thickens. They carefully opened the box. Inside they found a map and a golden key. The map showed a path leading to the old factory, the same one they had been to earlier. "This must be important," barked Bella. "But what does it all mean?" Suddenly a dark figure jumped out from behind a tree. It was Mr. Willow's grumpy neighbor, Mr. Grumble. "What are you pups doing here?" he snarled. The pups knew Mr. Grumble had always argued with Mr. Willow about their gardens. Could he be involved in Mr. Willow's disappearance? Section 7. Unmasking the culprit. The pups, led by Bruno, bravely confronted Mr. Grumble. "We found this box and this map," barked Bruno. "What do you know about them?" Mr. Grumble's eyes widened in surprise. He stammered, trying to explain. But Luna, with her keen hearing, noticed his heart beating very fast. He was lying. Just then, they heard a faint cry for help coming from inside the house. The pups, realizing Mr. Grumble was a distraction, rushed inside. They found Mrs. Willow tied up. She had been kidnapped. Mr. Grumble wasn't the mastermind, just a pawn. Section 8. Justice is served. The pups knew they had to act fast. The map and the key were important. They rushed back to the factory, the golden key burning in their minds. They found a small hidden door in the factory. It was locked, but the golden key fit perfectly. Inside they found Mr. Willow. He was weak and scared, but unharmed. A man with shifty eyes was trying to force him to sign some papers. It was Mr. Sly, Mr. Willow's greedy business partner. He had kidnapped Mr. Willow and planned to steal his business. Section 9. Case closed. The pups sprung into action. Max, with his incredible speed, snatched the papers away. Luna's loud bark startled Mr. Sly. Bruno bravely jumped in front of Mr. Willow, protecting him. Bella, quick as a flash, bit Mr. Sly's leg, making him yell in pain. They held him until the police arrived, alerted by the commotion. Mr. Willow was safe. He was so thankful to the brave pups. The pups had solved their first missing person case. News of their bravery spread throughout the town. The Paw Patrol were heroes. They had brought a dangerous criminal to justice and saved the day.